Welcome back to Algebra 2, Chapter 4, Section 3. We're learning about matrices, the matrix. It sounds cool, like Keanu Reeves should be teaching your class, but no, sorry. So we learned about how to add them, we learned how to multiply them, and now we're going to use some uses for them. Now, on the last video, I told you I want you to use your calculator on these. So I'm going to show you how to do it without your calculator, but then I really want you to move to doing your calculator. So hopefully you've watched the calculator video and you know how to edit matrices already and how to put them in your calculator. If not, go watch the video first and then come back. Go watch the calculator lab video and then come back and I'll teach you more about the calculator. This one's going to be in two parts because we're going to talk about determinants and Cramer's rule. And I don't have time to talk about Cramer's rule. I'm going to run out of time, so we're just going to talk about determinants. Now, determinants, I was talking to my son Nathan, who is in college, about this, and I said, "Did you learn this in high school?" He said, "No, I learned it in calculus and in quantum physics." And he said, "We really used it with that word. It's like discriminant, and I said determinant." And so what is a determinant? The reason why he got it confused is because they start with the letter D. And also because, like the discriminant, if you remember the discriminant and the quadratic equation, it tells you certain things about the equation. If you just solve the discriminant, you can tell if your quadratic equation has no solution, one solution, or two solutions. So this is something that's similar to that. You have a matrix, you figure out what the determinant is, and then we can do things with the determinant, like find the area of a triangle. So it's a useful thing. So this is how you do it. Here I have a 2 by 2 matrix. And there's only certain ones you can do this with. If you try to do it with one that it doesn't work, you put it in your calculator and it says error, because I just picked any old one without looking at it and thought, oh, maybe this will work, and I got error, so you will too. All right, so 2 by 2 works, and 3 by 3 works. So what you do first is you draw a line going from the top corner to the bottom, and you multiply them. So 1 times 5 is 5. Then you go up the other way. 2 times 3 is 6, and you subtract them, so the determinant for this matrix is -1. Okay? What about this one? Let me see, I went down first with green, so I'll do it with green. Okay, so we're going to multiply down the first, so we're going to do 2 times 0 times 4. I really don't want to mark them out where you can't see it, but maybe you can read through. 2 times 0 times 4 is 0. Now you've got to do 3 numbers. So I'm going to do this one next. -1 times 1, and the thing that gets multiplied by it is this one that's by itself, because it's got to be 3. So -1 times 1 times 1 is -1, and then I do the last one. -2 times 2 times 3 is -12. And then I add them all together and I got -13. Now I go the other way. I go up. So I'm going to go across this way. 1 times 0 times 3 is 0. Now, which one did I do next? I did this one next. Okay, so now 2 times 1 times 2, is 4. I did this one next. -1 times -2 times 4 is 8. Now, 4 plus 8 is 12. 13 minus 12 is -25. Now, how do you do this on your calculator? On your calculator, you go in and put the matrix in, and under Edit, if you don't know how to do that, go watch the video. And then you do on your calculator, you do second x, and then x to the -1, and the second of x to the -1 button is matrix. It's right here on your calculator. Whoop, more fun with sound effects. And then, okay, so I'm going to do it as it is. Gotta turn on the calculator, it doesn't work. Second, -1, it pulls up the matrix stuff. And if you go over 1, it says math, which I always think is funny because isn't it all math? Yeah, it is. So you arrow over to math, and the first thing it says is DET with a beginning parentheses. It says det. That det is determinant. So all you have to do is put in the matrix and then pick it under determinant, and it will tell you the answer without having to do any of this marking it out thing. But that's where it comes from. It was important you saw where it came from. Now, what is it good for? I'm glad I can't hear you answering out loud. Okay, this is what it's good for. Remember geometry. And remember, if you have a triangle where the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. But sometimes height is a pain to get because they don't give it to you. And so you have to use trig to solve it, which you should know by now. If you went Algebra 1, Algebra 2, you skipped geometry, you didn't get trig, the trig you're going to need for this class. So you need to go back to my geometry videos and find the one on trig and watch it, or somebody else's on trig. But that's an aside. You need to know trig. I really recommend Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2. A lot of people just want to spiral geometry in, but I tutor kids for the SAT, the ACT, and college entrance exams, and the people who do spiraled in geometry don't know it. And when I go work with those kids, they miss every problem until I teach them trig. So trig and geometry are very important on those tests. So I feel like to prepare for it adequately, you need to take a year of geometry. So some of y'all might need to just shut the book, go get the book for geometry, and start over and do geometry this year and save this one till next year, because this one's hard. This is considered an honors level class in Georgia. So it is a rigor class is what they call it. You have to take so many rigor classes to get the lottery funded scholarships. And this one is one that counts. So you have to, my kids did physics, Algebra 2, chemistry, and forensics for their 4 rigor classes. But anyway, this one's hard. We go fast, and I expect you to know trig already. So sorry we didn't talk about that earlier. There you got it. All right. So sometimes it's a pain. Now we have for this triangle the coordinates of the vertices, the points, okay? And so what you do for the area of a triangle is this, plus or minus 1/2, and then it is, you do x1, y1, x2, y2, x3, y3. It's a 3x3 matrix, and for the last column, you put ones. So here's one to try on your calculator. Put this in, go under edit, and put this in for A. Do second x to the -1, select edit, and make this a 3x3 matrix, write that in, and then put in these numbers, 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 4, 0, 1, 6, 2, 1, and they make you do it that way. Then go back, hit second mode, which quits, and then do second x to the -1 again, arrow over to math, the ironic thing, and then the very first thing is determinant. So you're going to get the determinant. So as you do this on your calculator, we've got to get our half in there first. So do 0.5 times, and then do this so you get determinant, and then go back, second x to the -1a, pick up your A matrix, and then hit enter, and it will give you 5. And that seems a little hard. That is so much easier than having to use trig, having to use the distance formula, get the links, use your trig, figure out the angle, It is much easier to get your height without having to use trig. And so anyway, come back and we'll do goal 2, which is Cramer's rule. Math is great.